Okay, welcome everyone to our grand tour of the cave. Here on the right side you can already see the shipwrecks of previous battles. We are going to go through every little area of this cave. On the left side we have clan symbol. You might notice that the whole build is kind of underground, which is usually not possible in Valheim. So all of the rocks you see on the top basically have been manually spawned. So I hope you enjoy our little tour as we are just arriving in the small harbor area here. Just gonna park and then we're gonna go step by step through all of the areas. I hope you will enjoy. And yes, without further ado, we're gonna jump on shore here and we're gonna start with the harbor area. Starting off with the landing point, we of course have the harbor area. You see we have some little piers over here with a couple of boats. Going to the side we can see a couple of materials and crates with goods, which might either be stolen or purchased. Who knows? And there you can see the bandit symbol on the right again. And we have some ballistas and natural defense. Again, the whole concept, of course, is a bandit cave, and therefore it is reasonable to assume that they would sometimes be under attack. And last but not least, of course, a little relaxing area by the harbor. Moving on to the campfire. My personal favorite, and for sure an aesthetic highlight of the build, is the campfire area, which is surely reminiscent of some music festival carpentry. But yeah, it's basically a place where the bandits can dance, celebrate, and share stories of their adventures and get together after a hard day of work. And we'll be moving on to the portal area and the staircase. Moving on to the main part of the build and towards the portal area, we arrived at our extension of the harbor where the ship is safely parked and materials are ready to be loaded onto the ship. The whole build is really designed to start the bottom on the shores and work itself up towards the ceiling of the cave, which we will see later. So it really took a lot of terraforming to get all of those different layers ready. We'll be moving on, walking up this very small spiral staircase to arrive at the first choke point. No NPCs to be placed in Valheim yet, hence we have a little armor stand with some armor on it to give the impression of a bouncer. And here on the left over the small overdeck we have our portal area. Nothing too fancy, just a couple of different areas to quickly access in case that's needed. We're moving on towards the commercial area. at the other side of the port, we have our little commercial area. I wanted to give it a little bit of a magical feeling with a very unique roof structure. And speaking of magic, the new patch made our trader disappear. Now you can only hear his voice. Creepy enough. And yeah, it will serve as a pathway towards the tavern area now. Every pirate or bandit, of course, also loves to drink, hence the mandatory tavern area. Heaps of barrels here to keep everyone hydrated, and a big round table where I want to get together as well. And the barkeeper, you can see on the top, has those Fenris claws, which always reminded me more of like the Wolverine things, indicating that in his past he might have a different occupation. And we'll be moving on to the terrace. The outside area of the tavern, of course, has a little seating area and a staircase leading upwards towards the next area. And if you listen closely, you can hear the waves crashing on the rocks, which is the illusion created by spawning water right here to make it look like fertilized soil, and has a side effect of those waves crushing sound, which is a nice touch, I thought. And yeah, oh no, we set ourselves on fire here. Excuse me. And we have our little clam padlocks on, safely tucked away to not hurt anyone. There were supposed to be some chickens in here. Huh, wonder where those went. And we have a little secret drinking area as well, which we will explore next. A beer pong table for those juvenile delinquents. Maybe a silly idea, just thought those guys would go crazy over a game or two of beer pong. And of course, a little bonfire here as well, which serves as a lighthouse. Hello, chicken. And yeah, just a nice extra touch to the tavern and back alley before we move on to the kitchen. Here we have our communal kitchen area with enough space for everyone to sit down and have a feast together. We have a nice oven embedded into the backside of the tavern as well, and just enough space for everyone really to sit down and eat together. And here we have a little area for all of our local meat production. I didn't want to go over the risk of spawning water again, hence the water place actually made of the glass windows to make it look like there's some water for all of our boars to drink from, and of course some honeybees in the backside there as well. And yeah, this is basically middle area, and if you look upwards, you can always see the living quarters, which again extend a little bit over the rest of the build to give it the feeling of some nests. It is a raven clan after all. And we have another staircase over here going towards the guard room. The guard room serves as a choke point, making sure that nobody can access the higher part of our cave. You saw the other side with bouncer here already, the door, and it's basically an area for diplomatic relations maybe, and to have negotiations and welcome any potential visitors, and of course just having a nice discussion table on top as well before we move on towards the more private areas of our cave. Every clan has some sort of hierarchy, which is reflected here in the living quarters deck. The first one has a little bit of a hostile feeling to it, with everyone sleeping under the roof. And again, going with all of this Raven clan theme, you can see it looks a little bit like a nest. For second level, I extended those bats to make it look like the feathers of the clan protect them while asleep. Again, not the most sophisticated building, just a nice idea I had to fit with the whole theme. And of course, each of those areas having their own campfire to keep them warm at night. And the last one being the hiring officers, a bit more private space and a private table to go with. And of course, they can oversee all of the rest of the previously visited areas. And from the deck, we'll move onwards towards the Smithy area. Just a regular blacksmith area with all of the crafting stations you could potentially find in the game, closely connected to the living quarters in case somebody needs to get equipment rather quickly. And I wanted to give it a little bit of a cramped feeling where people are shuffling around and forging things and getting ready for the next raid or whatnot. And yeah, that's basically it for the Smithy area. Moving on towards the armory. The tiny armory, where everyone's feather capes as well as their weapons are stored in a separate chest. And grab your things before heading out. Everything's stored in a nice little round place here. And we will be moving on towards the leader's mansion. the leader's mansion, which was by far the biggest part of the build. You can see the clan symbol yet again embedded the glass, and a nice little front here through which we can see our private Lux Moomin Rider. We'll be moving into the mansion, first floor, a little bit of a reception welcome table to have any more private talks the leader, which couldn't be done in the diplomatic room. And yeah, we have our private kitchen area as well, you know, fitting for a leader, with a small private garden as well, where we can pet and feed our private logs. And don't worry, we won't be escaping from here, since really caved in. Up to the second floor, we have a little bit of a closet and a nice kind of living area. I try to use those little fine wood tables as a room separator for the lack of better options. And of course a table to sit down again, a nice chimney, a balcony from where you can see the lower parts of the build, and a wolf! Hello! These are supposed to stay in the woods, right beyond those stone walls, but apparently they had other ideas. We have some tame wolves as well, and we have another spiral staircase, which I wanted to make a little bit like a tree, hence the Yggdrasil woods branching out from there. Again, I just tried to go with some different creative ideas I had, even though it might not be the most sophisticated building. But yeah, here we are on the third floor as well, of course, now, which is the final floor, overlooking basically the rest of the whole cave. Some private stash away here, of course, and personal selection of refreshments, a little bit of a raven's wing, feathers protecting the leader from any danger, and lastly our very big stone throne from which we can oversee anything that happens. And the Black Forge, which looks a little bit like a DJ table, right over the festival area, campfire, in case we have some parties. And yeah, that concludes the leader's mansion, but we have 2 more small areas to cover before finishing up. Of course, our bandit's life is not without danger, and therefore this cave, of course, also has escape routes in times when all bandits get overwhelmed. And of course a very rudimentary staircase here, nothing too fancy, just a quick escape route through the water. You can see 2 rafts waiting on the other side of the shore to escape, and all it takes is just 1 leap of faith. The last area to be covered, another spiral staircase between the Smithy area and the armory, leads us to the secret escape route as well as our secret stash. Not hitting rock bottom here, as we are on the very ceiling of our cave, where all of the valuables are hidden, and another escape route fortified with a single ballista to have an alternative option. You never know what is going to happen in an eventual onslaught. Heaps of traps here, you can see. I accidentally walked a couple of those as well beforehand. Let's not make the same mistake again. And we hollowed out a little stone here to make it really feel like a super secret way to go. And once outside, you can see the other escape route through the meadows towards the mountain. If you step back a little bit here, you can see that without knowing of it, it is very difficult to spot. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed our tour. Let me know what you think, and hopefully we can see some other builds in the future. Don't shut off the video just yet. We still have our night tour coming up for you, so please sit back and enjoy.